maybe not, but maybe.
That's the way to assert dominance.
Yeah.
To feel better.
This guy cleared. Bury them all. No, he hasn't. Okay.
We are still waiting for Pathfinder guy, yeah?
Yeah, for one random. There's like a group with 4 DPS and just missing tanks. Only one of them saw a group in top tank in general. So Bar, you haven't killed Piedras, have you?
No,
Why not?
I haven't been bothered.
Okay.
I don't think so. Let me double check. Raids. Nope, I haven't done that one. And then there's a few of the other ones in Eden I missed. Let's see. I did the last tier. Yeah. I skipped the second tier entirely.
Yeah.
And I didn't do E4S. I was filling in for a static there and I had a falling out with them.
Down. That happens.
I wasn't really too bothered. Like, I only filled in with them because one of the people in that static used to PvP. And so she asked me to fill in for her static.
Mm-hmm. Piedras was bothersome to PF. Oh, that's too long ago for me.
Yeah, skip the last tier in that entirely. I only did the first tier.
The first, I mean, the last tier is kind of cool because you get the mega there.
I did the fourth fight in the second tier, Sigmascape, and I think that's because we did it as my FC did it as a blue mage party, so I.
It's Kefka, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's the only reason I have that one done.
I see.
And then at the time I skipped the last tier of Alexander. I got kicked from my static after we cleared the second tier, and so I just skipped the last tier. But I have it complete, so I don't know how or when I could. Wait, no, that's not it.
What did you do to get kicked from a static?
Oh, I did go back and complete. So the static I was in, we were kind of like some people called us hardcore, but we didn't really consider we didn't consider ourselves hardcore.
All right.
But we kind of had an agreement that when we raid, we make sure to have the best pots, the best food, and that we're fully prepared, and kind of set out the expectations.
Okay.
But and then we cleared the first tier of Alexander pretty quick. We were the first group on EU servers to clear A4S.
Wow, that's pretty sick.
Oh, that's an achievement.
But
well,
like
hardcore, they say.
I mean,
right.
I heard really bad stories about first Alexander T on release.
Yeah, Living Liquid or something.
Yeah.
Casually reaping Alexander.
I can't remember if we got the first. No, the FC so I was right. I wasn't in the FC that this group was in, but that group, another group in that FC got the, again, EU first A2S, and the only reason people cared about EU first at the time is because this EU servers were still in North America.
Yeah.
Even though like some North Americans were still giving us shit, like, oh, who cares about EU first? But
I mean, the ping was horrible to play with.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember being ninja and my Mudras, they were so fucking. I felt like every Mudra was clipping or something. Compared to how fast they are now.
in the second tier, we had that fight that had like the 4 arenas where you fight one robot, then you go into the next.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it was. Yeah, because A5 I think was where you fight the goblin who grows huge. I think A6 was like the robots.
Yeah.
And so, on the first robot, you have that thing where you do the 3 or 4 robots land on random people and then do the dive bombs. I was playing ninja back then, and so because magical and physical defense were a thing back then, we didn't have a strategy for it. So if I got hit, I was pretty much guaranteed death. Because the range were dropping them in the back of the arena, and I couldn't see it because we didn't have a strategy. And if I got hit, I died. If the Dragoon got hit, he'd survive with like just a minimal HP. And apparently they weren't too happy about that, even though I kept saying to them, look, we need a strategy, and you're like, no, it's fine. And there was a couple of things I was doing that was just wearing on the group apparently. Like they were getting pretty annoyed that I wasn't using the best food. But when we killed A8S, I used really cheap food. Like I used food from around my board, because what had happened is, I got pretty annoyed with the group, but I never expressed it with the raid leader. That so we had a bard, and I think he went machinist. Then he got the tombstone and he got everything. He got the weapon and he got the weapon upgrade. And a week later, he's like, "Oh, I need to switch back to bard because a machinist isn't good for A8S." And so he threw away his weapon without saying anything, and then tried to get the GMs to restore like the unupgraded item and the weapon upgrade item separately to try and get the bard weapon. And they're like, no, we can give you one or the other. We can give you a tombstone weapon, or we can give you the upgrade item. And so I was like, that's pretty irritating, because then he got the next upgrade item, even like next time we cleared A7S, which was irritating because someone else was supposed to have it. Like we were getting to the point where we were giving it to our tanks anyway, so we were getting to the end of I think we went DPS, probably tanks, and then healers. Because in A8S, you have the 4 orbs at the start spawn in the corners, and each DPS takes an orb, and he kept failing that DPS check because he wasn't saving his cooldowns like everyone else was. And so there was one raid day, I can't remember when it was, I think it was like a Sunday. We were doing really well, like we were getting 2 in rage, and then on the Monday, I can't remember the exact days, but let's say it was a Monday or a Tuesday, we just started wiping, and we were wiping in the first like 20% of the fight constantly, and we didn't even get to enrage. So roll around Wednesday, I was pretty annoyed because of that, because we were regressing hard. So I was like, all right, I'm not gonna pop a good food on the first pull, because we're not gonna kill it on the first pull. Especially with how the previous raid went. I popped the bad food, we one-shot it, and I was like, oh my god. And I said, like, oh my god, I used really bad food for that and everything. And they're like, and then a few of them just logged off, and then they went into a like private channel and started talking, and it's like, okay, and they're like, yeah, Bart, you're out of group. And I was told like, it's because I was dying in A6S. Like, look, I said, like we didn't have a strat for that. And they're like, yeah, and they're just like, whatever. And I expressed like, look, you had the bard through his weapon. He's like, yeah, but if you had an issue with it, you should have spoken up. Like, as far as the raid leader saw, I was like, look, all the issues have been all the fingers are being pointed at you, and the issues are raised against you. If you had issues, you should have raised, and we could have done something about it. Like, he understood he didn't want me to get kicked, and the warrior at the time didn't want to kick me either because we were pretty good friends. It's just one or two of them were just dickheads. And so they got a different ninja in who was in the FC, and that raid team just fell apart then after that. But if it wasn't for me in that group, we wouldn't have cleared A4S or A8S as fast. So we cleared A4S when... Were you guys active during Alexander the first tier?
Are you kidding me? I mean, I actually played at that time, but I didn't do salvage at all. I was just I played a little bit and then I quit the game.
So I don't know if you guys know about Nissi, like how
Passing
hard.
Nissi? How hard it is? I'm not sure how hard it is.
So like with Nissi, you had 2 debuffs. I think you had a blue and an orange one, and they were a super heavy dot. And early on in the fight, like not at the start, but like,
Is it the same as the SR Nissi?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it's completely different from
They
anything
called it
else.
Nissi, but okay.
Yeah. So like 2 players have the super heavy dot, and it's like you have to maintain it through the fight. So it just spawns on 2 random players. If you touch someone, you pass that dot onto them, and I think the dot lasts something like I can't remember the length, but it lasts 30 seconds. And I get the orange one. If you get the blue one and we touch each other, we both get each dot, and then we instantly die. I think we blow up actually and wipe the raid. So you can't have both of them. And they tick down for 30 seconds, and you have to keep that buff in the fight. So the only way to keep that in the fight is for me to pass it to someone else. And then once I pass it to someone else, I don't think I'm able to get it again for a while. So whoever the second person is I pass it to then has to pass to another person, and eventually you just cycle around. Like, it would go, I don't know, like let's say your main tank to your healer 1 to your range 1 to your melee 1 back to your main tank, and then you cycle the orange debuff around them and the blue debuff around the other. And so while you're trying to keep these debuffs in the fight and keep people alive because of the heavy dot and every other mechanic going on, you had to near the end of the fight then these orbs spawn in the arena. There's a blue orb and there's orange orbs, and if you had the orange Nissi, you had to walk into the orange orb, and if you had the blue Nissi, you had to walk into the blue orb. But if you so during the fight, that debuff could just time out. Like, if you let that debuff run for 30 seconds and just disappear, that's it. It's gone. It's gone from the fight. So you can't use it. It doesn't come back. And so what you had to do when the orbs come back is, if you had the orange debuff, you had to give the orange debuff to someone first, and then before yours ran out, you had to walk into an orange orb, because the orange orb would cleanse the debuff.
Okay.
Like, it was like a logistical nightmare. It was a really rough mechanic. And again, it's doing heavy damage, so this was just awful. But what people eventually found out is that you could just let the debuffs fall off early on, and then you sacrifice people. So if someone ran into the orb without a debuff, they just die, but they also they get rid of the orb. Yeah. And because of latency in this game, what you do is you line yourself up with 2 orbs, and you run, and you have to jump before you hit the first orb because of the latency in the game with the way jumping works. That if you were to just run straight without jumping, you would only hit the first orb and die. Okay. But if you jump, there's something like the game doesn't register your position until you land, but it still registers you traveling through the two orbs. So if you jump through them, then you can blow 2 of them up. And so
can you tanking me that shit?
I don't think so. I think that's one of the things Tank Community didn't work for. I'm not sure.
Okay, but yeah, okay. Sack strats for the win. Let's go.
Yeah, and so like back then, people didn't live stream or release videos on the content because everybody was like going for world first, and it was really like secret. And so some people had cleared it and they weren't releasing the strats for another week or two because they wanted people to do the content themselves. And eventually a group released this Nissi cheese strat. And then my group was like, all right, we're doing that now. Like we were like, I think it was released sometime in the middle of the night because it was an American group. And then we went straight in and it's like, guys, look at this. We're doing Nissi strat. And then we cleared it that day. And there was another group in EU that they were called Angered. Now these guys were notorious. They had this guy called Creator.
Okay.
And he was just an awful person. He was just horrible to people. He was really arrogant and rude and very condescending to people. And he thought he was hot shit. But like, he didn't lead the FC he was in. The FC was led by some Saudi Arabian dude. And I don't know if it's true, but loads of people said like he was just an oil baron. Like he was just some dude who owned an oil well. So he had like loads of money. Because the FC would effectively buy players. Like they were given, there was loads of like history with them that came out during the raid tier where they were giving people money to play, and one of the guys came out and was like, oh yeah, they paid me through PayPal, but for him to get the money he had to do a request. So if you were paying me to play for your FC, I would have to request the money from you in PayPal. And stories were like, the story was that the person who requested the money, because I request it, you can then actually refund that money back to you. Yeah, you can refund it back. And so the people would request the money from Creator, and then he would just refund it back later on. So it could be like 1,000 or 2,000 euro. I think it was definitely in the 4 digits. And the guy's like, oh, I've already spent the money. And then he's refunded it like within 30 days. And like, wow, that's pretty shit. But they had this thing like with Amazon vouchers that like, they had 4 prize levels. They had, if you got world first, you would get X amount. If you got region first, like if it was world first, you'd get, I can't remember the numbers, but I'll just make them up. Like if you're world first, you would get 500 euro.
Yeah.
If you were region first, you would get 200 euro. If you were data center first, doesn't make sense because we only had 1 data center. I can't remember what it was. I think there was 4 tiers. There was world first, region first, server first, and I think static first was the 4th one. And so if you get world first, then you win all 4 tiers, so you get all of the money. But it was Amazon vouchers they give. They didn't give actual money, they gave Amazon vouchers. And so there was a big joke around that time about getting Amazon vouchers. My group, they did offer us money. They were offering us like 100 euro each and to pay for our transfers before A4S was cleared. My raid leader rejected it and they're like, oh, no worries, you're not going to beat us anyway. And they're like, oh, you're only 2nd best. And then we went in and beat them. It was very satisfying because we knew what they did. Like they had 10 statics in their FC, and Creator was in the first static. I don't think even the FC leader was in the first static because he wasn't any good. But what they would do is they would recruit these statics in, and say they would recruit a new static in, their static number 8. What they would do is they would watch their performance, and then if Creator thought like, oh, they have a good tank, they would pull the tank from that group and put them into his group. And so basically they would chop and change all the other statics that came in to make group number 1 the best.
So
Because-
actually, it's not a static. It's unstatic.
It's dynamic.
Yeah.
Dynamic. Yeah. Welcome to our dynamic. We have 4 dynamics in our FC.
Alki, we need an oil well. We gotta do that, right?
Yeah.
Oil well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the guy he had an oil well to do that. So if we get an oil well real quick, we can probably do something like that.
Yeah, well, you guys are in Russia, so you have your lithium and nickel mines.
Yeah.
I
That's
don't know
true.
if we even have lithium.
I thought northern Russia has a big source of lithium.
Lithium, yes, it has somewhat.
And I think doesn't Russia provide like 40% of the world's grain or something, like a massive amount?
I mean,
Now or before?
Well, probably not now. But yeah.
Yeah, now we have to eat up all the grain ourselves, apparently.
I mean, now I think it's even more, probably. Who is that? There's someone near our FC.
Oh man.
Maybe out of the firmament? Or somebody else? Or Miriscar?
Firmament, yeah, firmament. Yeah.
I mean, where are they? Oh, that's the guy. He lives. Yeah, that's nearby.
So I shouldn't kill him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, fine.
How do I do this?
Oh, apparently Australia and Chile dominate the lithium supply, but Australia having any sort of resource doesn't really matter because China owns them, so yeah, but if Australia owns something, it's really China owns it. Like there's a place here. Oh man, I want to say it's a Russian name, but
What?
I don't want to butcher it.
Yeah, go ahead. We can fix it.
Go ahead, I will fix it. Yeah.
Kovakinskoye?
Kavichinska.
That's the one. Largest
Yeah.
gas field in eastern Russia, and there's lithium in the gas. Like I think I was saying before, like I did go and learn the Russian alphabet, and so I could sort of start reading words, but I didn't know what I was saying. I was like, I wanted to learn Russian, but then my
Why?
girlfriend broke up with me, and my ex is Russian. Yeah, then we broke up, and so I was like, all right, that.
Don't need Russian anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
True.
it's like, it would have been easier because I would have someone to learn and talk to, because she could speak Russian, but she didn't. So when I was around her and her mum would speak Russian to her because she didn't want to learn the ability to speak Russian, so she had her mum speak Russian to her. And I was like, I didn't really mind, because even if they were speaking English, I wouldn't be involved in the conversation because it was all like about clothes or stuff like that, stuff that I just had no interest in. But I found learning Cyrillic actually surprisingly easy, like to learn the letters and start to read stuff.
I mean, the way they sound. Yeah, there's. How complex is the pronunciation? It's not too much, right?
It's
There
not
are
complex
not
at all.
that many special cases.
It's not like English where like when I was looking stuff up, there's no special cases and stuff like, and if there are, you have that sound, the what was it called, the ikra, yeah,
Ikratka, yeah, it's like
That's the
E
one.
short, basically.
to show that there's a change in the pronunciation. Whereas in English you have like, it's just whatever. Oh, there's an H there. Yeah, you don't pronounce that. Or there's a G. Yeah, you don't pronounce that either.
Yeah, I think there are some
Well-
silent letters as well. Well, sometimes in Russian, but not too often.
Yeah.
I can't even recall those cases, but yeah.
In English, I like the word Q, because after the first letter, it means nothing. Just Q.
Just queue up.
Yeah. Why bother? Just Q. Hurt people. Everyone, get in here.
Because like I was learning a couple of words and phrases, and I wrote them down like simple words like privyet, spasiba. Like I was picking up a couple of things, and then I was like, well, I'm not going to use these. But I don't know where that book is gone. I had a little notepad. I was writing them down. 'Cause I don't have a second language, so it would have been really interesting to finally have a second language. But I'm looking at buying a house here in Sweden, so I should probably learn Swedish.
That would be helpful.
Only because, like, I don't need it for going to the shops or anything like that. Like, it's not necessary. Like, everything they do here is in English as well. It's just, I go out on Saturdays with a bunch of guys from the area, and they all speak Swedish. Like, they'll speak to me in English when they need to, but they all speak Swedish amongst themselves, and I'm like, yep. But it doesn't really matter because we're out playing airsoft, so as long as I can shoot them, that's fine.
Yeah. I have a friend who also play. Wait, he wasn't playing airsoft. He was playing pinball. Playing ball. That's different. Quite different.
I'm trying to set up so I can live stream it properly.
Yeah.
Because I bought a little computer. Not small enough to go in your pocket, but it's no bigger than your hand. It was a NVIDIA Jetson Nano. They're supposed to be used for AI programming and stuff, like it's a developer board. And someone made some software you can put onto it just for live streaming, and so you can connect up a camera. Well, you can connect up a capture card, like a USB capture card. You can connect up a couple of cameras. You can connect up like multiple Wi-Fi points to it, or multiple internet things to it. And you need a couple of power banks, and then you just stream. That's it. But the kit is small enough that you can carry it around with you, but like you can put it in a backpack kind of thing.
Yeah.
Some people do it for cycling, and other sports, but you wouldn't really use it if you're doing a sport like football where you have to run a lot.
I see.
And so I want to use it for airsoft. I want to put it on my bag where you can kind of sit down at times. Because you're going to be carrying gear anyway. And I wanted to live stream FanFest, so that's what I want to do. I bought this computer and I bought all the gear I needed. I bought the capture card I needed, a couple of big power banks, a couple of mobile hotspots.
Yeah.
And then I didn't get a FanFest ticket. I'm like, shit. And I still tried because there's a
Oh no, the healer left. Oh, I'm in literal pain.
Workers.
No.
Yeah. Okay, DPS.
Where is any healers? I will
Okay.
adjust.
Killer adjust.
Exactly.
So there's a PvP static that asked me to fill in a couple of times, and so I was like, I asked their leaders, like, hey, are any of your members going to, have they bought a ticket? And they're like, nope, we're just relying on the tournament. Like, damn. Because if they win, if they get through the tournament into the FanFest stage, they get free tickets. And so it's like, I would have bought their actual ticket and then they could use their PvP ticket for themselves. Sucks.
this which is this Hector?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Fuck.
This is Piero Fukusho.
Yeah.
This is delay. I should probably just post it. Yeah, that's what I've been thinking, yeah. So, yeah.
Mark. You can do something.
Yes. Okay, it's like what? We could do criterion.
6-player criterion. I don't think it's an option.
You will not open it yet.
Well, I could always be the person who stays outside and just calls shit out or something, and maybe somebody would be not interesting or something. Well, it's just
To be
an
fair,
option.
if we really want to do some action, considering the fact that we are at least semi-competent in this game, we can just try goal base because PF still sucks there.
I don't remember anything about Gobes, to be honest. It wouldn't get a single kill.
Do you
I
have to
remember.
go into Criterion as 4-man, or can you go in as 3-man?
It is well, I think it's strictly 4-man.
Okay. 'Cause I was gonna say if we're 6, we could divide into 2 teams of 3 and race through it and see who gets through first.
You what again?
Criterion has 3-man, 2 teams of 3, and see who gets through quicker.
Oh, you can do criterion. You can only do variant.
Variant. I keep forgetting the names.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never did the first one in Savage. I need to unlock the others as well.
I mean, you don't want to do savage. I mean, maybe you do, but it's a pain.
Yeah,
'Cause
I'd
you
like to
cannot
just
resurrect. It's like an ultimate life. On she tank. Oh, sorry, he's not a tank. It doesn't really matter to him.
He's DPS, yeah.
Can you show me your rapier unglammed? Just want to look. I want to see how it looks in game. That's a wrong chat.
Did you tell me?
Oh, I see.
Yeah, he's here.
Okay. Can you unglam it?
Yeah. Glam. Cast glam. It's pretty cool, but it doesn't work with my portrait.
I know. What? It really reminds me of. It looks something like in Blue Mage weapon and some Eden rapier or something in between. It looks good.
You could say it. It's just a weird stick, to be honest.
Well, I'd say you have Heideland Crystal as focus crystal.
You could say that actually, yeah. Oh, that's a mother crystal. That's a mother crystal,
Yeah.
right? A small one.
Small mother crystal.
It's just the shard of it that hadn't been eaten by.
It's not a mother
Our-
crystal,
our
it's
mutual
sister crystal.
Sister crystal.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Why?
No.
Why
Just
not?
look at it.
I
Can
cannot.
you link it in chat?
It's a baby.
Which chat? When I was offline?
True. True.
No.
Uh, You guys doing Q1? Anyone on your friend list?
This blue slime would look so nice with this weapon.
Yeah, you can build bread mage. No, actually you can't.
Bread mage?
I am the bread mage.
Bread mage.
Give me back my clan.
Came to do some toasts.
Okay.
Whoa!
Go
Oh,
second.
okay.
Whoa!
By the way, I was finishing earlier today as well.
Like 10 minutes or so, yeah, because Stout has to go.
Yeah.
So it's fine. Let's ready check. I'm gonna post the link to our Discord. Copy. I'm not trying to voice. All right, let's go. Am I? No, I'm not Sage. Okay. 12.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
Since Starlet is currently not a white mage, will we try that adapted lazy lasers or not?
I mean, let's just stick to whatever we're doing. I think
Okay,
the other
okay.
white mage should be able to heal you, and the allocate won't really need healing any. Okay. Food check, ready check, everything check.
It's Lalafell!
Oh yeah.
Fine.
Well, it's really all the same. Since it's only for the first orb that you really need it.
Okay, let's go. Oh, we don't have black mages. What an interesting composition we have there. And we'll swap up to the second hit. Which is now. Okay. Looks like one of the tanks was a little bit far. But it's fine. Okay.
Did you get killed by laser or what?
Yes, we did. And grazing as usual.
Oh,
We did towers and mine the out. Maybe it doesn't put me the time. Okay. It is out pairs. And we'll be going right. Going right, be on the correct side of the orb. Okay, it is out, then in. Tanks and kilos are doing towers. And, keep doing towers. Okay, the kilo got clipped, right?
There was Black Tower and South, I guess.
Yeah.
I expect I was with white
You were
buff
correct.
next. Yeah, expected black tower to be left of the
True.
place to spread it.
Uh,
I have a question.
Yeah.
If I have a beam, do I have to stay in front of others
No.
or not?
You
What?
don't.
Stay in place.
Oh, okay.
You just have to be. You just it doesn't matter what you say,
Okay.
as long as you're on the correct side. We're going north. Right? We'll swap up to the first hit. Now. I like that thing. That was nice. Alright, back to fire. Tower. And mine the out. Does this cover corner? I mean, super chain? Sure. Okay, it is out spreads. We'll be going left. Left, left, left. Be on the correct side of the road. And it is out and then in. DPS are doing towers. Thanks, he was either way and spread. Rezzing, we're fine. It is going to be true, so we swap every time. Swap now. And again. Group out, tanks in the middle. Okay. If it starts with P, it's party out. That's kinda how I memorized it. If it starts with A, it's party in. But it doesn't. That's rhyme as well. Anyway. DPS cross status, then figure out if you're certain towers or not. Supports find your position and do that.
I'm tower.
I'm plus.
Okay, the tower is, somebody messed up. I don't think it was a tower. I think one of the
It
DPS
was.
pushed.
It was. We got hit by electrify. It was Miss Tower.
Oh, it was a missed tower. Okay. Okay. I should start recording, to be honest. Alright, that was a nice pull down.
I didn't see which tower that was. I just saw the name of the attack that was.
Yeah, try to look what's happening on your platform. Just to make sure that we're aware because I can usually see the opposite platform from my side. But yeah, first do your mechanic and then look south. And we swap off the second hit. Now. And pretty sure what? Oh, okay, you're supposed to be on one.
Oh, yes.
Maybe it works. Okay, style of cooldown. I shouldn't have stood there. Mind the ads. Maybe the healer can resurrect. Yes, we can. What can he escape?
Look, I don't have wall.
Oh, this is going to be interesting.
Okay.
Oh, that's even worse.
That's minus both tanks. Salvageable. Just feel pro is getting okay, we're good. Make sure you get aggro. And it is in spreads. We'll be going right. Going right, be on the correct side. It is out, then in. Tanks healers to the towers. In. DPS heat away. The towers. The tower wasn't taken. What?
What?
My tower was taken. Yes,
I was black debuff in white tower.
I
Oh,
was
did you
black
take the
tower.
Or were you not the tower taker?
Okay, I think it was my bad.
So you die at some point very weirdly. I'm not sure what killed you, but yeah. Okay, focus up. Remember, if you're a beam, you're taking the tower. And also, if you have just the weakness icon, that means that you were the beam. Because if you are the tower, you also have the tower icon, and if you are the runaway, you also have the spread icon. So if you only have one debuff, that means that you were the beam. And I mean, if you only have one debuff after the beam, it's you. We swap after the second wave. Now. Towers and mine. Yeah, the first is taking time. It is in pairs. We're going right, be on the correct side of the tower. Supports will be doing beams out, then in. Sorry, supports will be doing towers out, then in. The towers out. What happens?
I took correct tower this time.
Was one of the DPS in, in there?
With me,
The,
no.
the white mage ran back between me and the other ranged who had the spreads and got nuked by our AoEs.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, he was. I guess he forgot he was the thing. Okay. Good north. We swap after the second hit. Is now. Towers. And mine, yeah.
Ouch.
Somebody
South,
forgot the tower.
southwest tower exploded.
Okay.
Loaded.
Who is this suspicious trouble?
Not me, nor Raul.
Yeah.
No, no.
I dropped the tower, but
I think that was the right one. But it's still there.
Why not?
Did you take a tower?
I guess. I warped the tower.
I am my Scott. So after the second hit. Mind the ants. Okay, let's do this. It is out pairs. We will be going left. Now, be on the correct side of the board. And it is in and out. Supports are doing south. Okay, sure.
I'm gonna wait for this.
You can take it. We swap after the first hit, which is now. You want to take it because we're gonna get a stack marker string. Yeah. That isn't good. Racing the healer. Okay. It is group out. Tanks in. I need extra minutes. Okay. Good. And now this needs some healing maybe. Some healing maybe. Heal up. White mage. Okay.
White
Stack
mage is
marker.
just. I'm saying this only just because you are not a white mage right now, Stavros.
Yeah, focus on
I'm
this.
just using emergency tactics for this situation. And
I feel like everything here is emergency
Okay.
tactics. Okay.
I'm
Let's do
on-
this.
Dawa.
Okay. Yeah, that's about right. We're missing a tower here. It is Shania. Okay. Shen, you're right. Tower always. If you are getting somewhere,
No.
Yeah, he's always in the wrong spots for the as well for the clock positions.
Oh, okay. I saw some shuffling around a few times, but didn't realize.
Not a big deal, but it's like, hey, it's working for now.
I mean, you can get some HP back. That's good. Especially when you play TF. Because you're forced to take different roles each time around. They were crossed after the second hit. Okay.
Fabric of creation.
Oh no, Starlet's my pair.
Don't worry, it's not pairs.